And Jim.
And welcome back to another Meteorology Monday!
Ah!
Today we are going to be talking about nor'easters. Since it is the wintry months and we have gotten quite a few nor'easters here in the US, I figured it was time that we talk about it. But before we get into that, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another Meteorology Monday.
So, what is a nor'easter?
What is it?
So let's take a look. I've got Wikipedia right here that actually
Reliable.
gives, yes, one of our most reliable sources, Wikipedia. Nor'easter is a synoptic scale extratropical cyclone in the western North Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so let's break that down for a minute. So what is synoptic scale?
Synoptic scale is not the global, not the really tiny, but that weird in between. So kind of like a cold front is a synoptic scale, or a hurricane is synoptic scale.
So on the order
like
of a few hundred kilometers, a few hundred miles-ish, you know, up to 500 miles, something like that would be
like
maybe 1,000 miles.
like
you know,
half the
synoptic
United
scale.
States, a quarter of the United States. We're not talking about like a city. We're not talking about like half the globe. But we're talking about like,
That's right.
you know, half the country.
That's right. And we're focused again on the U.S. and surrounding waters. So
And surrounding waters.
So we have synoptic scale extratropical cyclone. So extratropical meaning that it has transitioned from tropical to non-tropical or is non-tropical in nature, and cyclone being a low pressure system spinning in a clockwise manner in the northern hemisphere, and so therefore
Clockwise.
counterclockwise.
Okay.
Did I say clockwise?
He said clockwise.
It's a counterclockwise circulation in the northern hemisphere. As you're looking at Kayla, she's doing it right. So a nor'easter is a synoptic scale extratropical cyclone in the western North Atlantic Ocean. The name derives from the direction of the winds that blow from the northeast.
Northeast, nor'easter. So it doesn't have anything to do with the Easter Bunny?
No. Although there are little cotton ball cloud like bunny tail looking features away from the storm center.
It counts. What else do you have to tell us about a nor'easter?
Well, most people might think that a nor'easter is because it occurs in the northeast part of the United States, and that's not completely true. It's more because of the winds that rotate in a counterclockwise manner. I almost said that wrong again. In a counterclockwise manner, so that means that winds are coming down from the north and east down toward the coastline, because the low pressure systems are usually about 100 miles or so off the coast from, say, they form around the Carolinas and they deepen and move northeast at that point, and as counterclockwise circulation occurs, depending on how you're looking at me, the winds will come down toward the coastline as it's moving toward the northeast, and so you get northeast winds. And I bet you they're wondering, you two are meteorologists, why are you even looking at Wikipedia?
Because you know how many things there are to remember in meteorology? I don't remember the definition for everything. There's so many things!
Well, not only that, people have gone to good lengths to put something really nice and easy to understand, and so it's just easier to read it than it is for us to go from the very scientific and break it down. It's just easier to read it from Wikipedia.
Some Joe on Wikipedia has already done that for us,
It's already broken it down for us.
We
Let's just
fact
read
checked it. I mean, it's right, so.
So how about some other things associated with nor'easters? We talked about winds, but the winds can be strong at times.
Can be strong.
30 to 40 mile an hour sustained, could be higher gusts, especially along the coastline where wind is coming in off the water.
Yep.
Less friction, higher wind, blah, blah, blah. Precipitation type.
Well, since it's a nor'easter and it's kind of in the northeast and the winds are coming from the northeast, it's really cold up there. So one, you know, immediately jumps to snow and ice and hail and wind and, maybe not hail, but lots of cold precipitation stuff.
Depending on where that rain snow line is, we have the abundant moisture fetch coming in out of the Atlantic Ocean and making its way toward the colder air over the northeast United States. So therefore, you know, a lot of snow could pile up, depending how close that cold air is. And then there's that transition zone that goes from sleet to freezing rain, which I believe we talked about something like that recently link below.
A lot of the times we hear about nor'easters being during the winter time, being the big named winter storms up in the northeast United States. But can nor'easters happen outside of the winter months?
It is possible, especially in the spring and the fall months. Summertime, not so much. It's a different weather pattern that sets up. But typically, a low pressure system that forms along the southeast coast and makes its way northeast and develops into a very strong low pressure system with enough temperature contrast on one side and the other could be, potentially a nor'easter. Most people associate nor'easters with snow, but obviously in the warmer months it would be an all-rain event.
Would be all rain.
Be a cold rain on one side, but
miserable, dreary, cold rain.
it's possible. But the higher likelihood is in the winter months, especially when you have such a high contrast of temperature difference from the cold continental air mass and then the warm Gulf Stream and Atlantic Ocean. There's also one other factor, and that is in the winter months, the jet stream is located much further north. Whereas in the winter months, it acts
south.
definitely as a component for forming low pressure areas along the surface and in the middle part of the atmosphere. It tends to draw that air up and deepen cyclones, and so that plays a big factor as well as steering it. So yeah, with the jet not in play in the summer months, and you get the better contrast of temperature in the winter months, it's a lot more likely in the winter months.
Yep.
So, I bet you're wondering, what is the difference between a nor'easter and a blizzard?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Can a blizzard be a nor'easter, or can a nor'easter be a blizzard?
Professor, I think I have the answer. I think a nor'easter can form a blizzard, but a blizzard isn't a nor'easter.
Professor, to the definition of a blizzard.
Isn't a blizzard just like severe snowstorm?
So we went to it again. Good old Wikipedia tells us a blizzard. A blizzard is a severe snowstorm characterized by strong sustained winds of at least 35 miles an hour, 56 kilometers per hour for our international friends, and lasting for a prolonged period of time, typically 3 hours or more.
So it sure sounds like nor'easters can bring blizzards.
Yeah, there you go. they could be one and the same.
But not every nor'easter is a blizzard. Or not every nor'easter causes a blizzard. It's possible.
Right. Especially those conditions could be far offshore and not felt on land. So it just, depends. But they could be synonymous for one another depending on the event.
I get an A! Huzzah!
How about another one? Could a nor'easter be a named storm? Now that we're naming winter storms.
So, if we're going back to what we've discussed about the characteristics of a nor'easter, it kind of sounds like it has some of the qualifications that hurricanes have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're naming hurricanes because of, the significance and the impact and all the precipitation that it can bring, it would go to say that nor'easters would also be named.
That's right. Especially if they're strong enough and they're causing all sorts of chaos, they would most likely be named, according to the definition that National Weather Service would use to name a storm.
Yep.
And those are most likely very strong and produce a lot of precipitation. So yes, most likely nor'easters could be named. So found a great example of a nor'easter forming. So this is great. This has got the radar interpretation of things coming together, forming along the southeast United States, and then moving northeast, and then you see everything spinning up. I believe it's got also surface or sea level pressure as well on there to kind of indicate how strong the low will be. So we're going to take a look at this, and this gives you a good idea how a nor'easter forms and moves along the southeast to northeast U.S. coast.
Here we go.
Like you got an upper low swinging out over Tennessee, Kentucky area. You've got a cold front coming down through the southeast U.S. It starts to pivot, make its way through the mid-Atlantic area.
You can start seeing that snow.
More cold air is filtering in.
The area where the winds are coming from the northeast.
There you go. Low starts to form. The low starts to form off the coast and starts to deepen. Precipitation shield starts expanding to the north, to the northeast. Cold air is getting pulled down, so the snow field is expanding.
There it goes, and then the northeast just gets hammered with winter precipitation. Look at it. It looks like a literal hurricane. This is a great
Look
example.
at that. Maine right now, Maine, eastern Massachusetts, New Hampshire, they're all getting pounded right now.
Boston is gone. Portland, Maine, it's gone. It's just white.
And then it continues to move off into the Canadian Maritimes. With all the cotton ball bunny tails over the Atlantic Ocean. See? You were kind of right. Easter. All right, so now we're looking at an image of the snowfall, the total snowfall for that event. The snowfall for the event was, what was it, March 14th, 2014?
2018.
2018. March 14th, 2018. This nor'easter came through, and there is the snow totals ranged from 18 to 24 to up to 30 inches in spots from Maine all the way down into Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
That is an excessive amount of snow, and I would like all of it.
As one who has lived through nor'easters, I can tell you it is a very fun experience as a kid. As an adult, when you've got responsibilities to go to work and stuff like that, it could still be fun. But growing up in the Northeast, we used to get nor'easters, and one of my favorite memories was a storm that formed on a Friday and was moving up towards us. It was down in the panhandle of Florida, and it was moving up, and so it stretched out, and it was so long, the precipitation shield. It started snowing Friday night where I was at, Albany, New York. That's the upstate of New York, by the way.
If you're
North of New York City, halfway between New York and Montreal. Anyways, it started snowing Friday night, and it just snowed the entire time as the low was continuing to deepen as it moved northeast past South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, etc., and it would just get heavier and heavier, and it was snowing at a rate of 1 inch to 2 to 3 inches an hour, depending on where the precipitation shield and all the banding set up. And it snowed for about 36 hours, almost 48 hours. It continued into almost Sunday night, and we would have to go out every 12 hours or so to go shovel the snow because it was so deep, and it snowed 36 inches. It was incredible. What a storm. What a storm. And that wasn't the only time that happened. That's what I remember growing up. All you do is, even in the Northeast, you get a bunch of snow, it's part of living here. But once it gets to a certain point, a foot or more, you kind of go, okay, we're going to close some things down. We're going to just kind of wait this out. Plows will come by and they'll do their thing. You just sit in there and you go out and you just have a whole lot of fun with it, and snowballs and build forts and come in and drink hot chocolate and have cinnamon rolls and just have a great old weekend. Great.
That sounds fantastic. Meanwhile, here we're just like, everything closed, but we got a dusting of snow. We go out, we try to make one snowball with all the snow in the yard. We get one snowball. We come inside, we drink hot chocolate, we go back outside. All the snow is melted.
It's melted by 9:30 in the morning.
Degrees. And that was it.
That's it. Hope you enjoyed it.
Gee, thanks for moving south.
We have a few clips that we want to show you that we did find on YouTube of time-lapse nor'easters with rapidly falling snowfall.
Lots of
just
snow.
to show you how it goes from, some videos show bare ground to tall snow in a 12-hour time frame or whatever. But just to give you an idea, this is life in a nor'easter.
Life in a nor'easter. Here we go. There you go.
That's
Nor'easters.
Right. Nor'easters.
Nor'easters.
And go ahead and comment below on any nor'easters that you've lived through. Give us your feedback. We'd like to hear your story.
If you want to follow us on our weather adventures and our daily lives, be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, as well as checking out our website, which is linked down below. Until next time, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Jim.
Thanks for watching.
And happy
Mike's working.
Woohoo!